Hello, class. I thought I would stop talking about the Nobel Prizes and move on to some other hot topics. And this one deals with chemistry and society and about how we can get materials. So, right now, we typically do terrestrial mining, terrestrial meaning Earth, and we mine materials here on Earth. And it turns out that there's these nodules, and they're about the size of grapes to as big as a large potato on the bottom of the ocean, and they are pretty heavily um, have things that we find and that are very important for us economically and industrially. So they're heavy in iron, for instance, but also besides that, they typically have quite a bit of manganese, nickel, copper, and cobalt. All of these are very valuable materials. And they're just sitting there in the bottom of the ocean. The way that they form is by precipitation. So there's a precipitation reaction that happens, and the materials and they form. And you can see in this picture, it's almost like rings. So just over millions of years, these nodules form something as the core of it, and then the rings of precipitates form around it. And there's other areas like there's certain in the article it talks a little bit more. There's the nodules, but also certain areas that have a very steep slope that the precipitates can just form on it, and such that it's not going to create like uh, like sand going down with gravity. If it's steep enough, there's a certain amount of steepness that you can form these sheets of deposits on the bottom of the ocean. And the idea is that we have machines that can extract them. For the nodules, it's just like these are just like pebbles. So you can essentially come with a big sort of a plow kind of thing and collect them all that way. The sheets of things you have to go and scrape them off the bottom, and I guess also a plow and do that. And the question is, should we do this? And looks like we're moving towards doing it, but the question is, and these are things we don't know. What's going to happen if we do it? Right? So what if we start mining on the bottom of the ocean? And so mining causes industrial damage, or I'm sorry, industrial environmental damage. So whenever you mine, it disturbs the soil, and when the rains come, well, first of all, you when you mine somewhere, you're stripping across off any vegetation that's there, and also you're disturbing the soil. And when rains come, certain materials leach out, and for mining terrestrially, very frequently it creates acid rain. Or no, I'm sorry, acid rain. Acid acidifies the water, and a lot of that's from iron sulfide or pyrite, fool's gold. A little bit disturbs, and not only that, sedimentation. Like a lot of silt gets pushed into waterways, and that can cause problems to both humans and to the environment alike. The silt deposits can go clog up harbors, for instance. Boohoo. But for the environment, though, the silt can cover things. It can cause damage to various things like coral reefs, or just clog up waterways. It can also cause things like algal blooms, in a process called eutrophication, where nutrients go in. We more see eutrophication for things like fertilizers and crops, but these are all various things that can happen with mining. And the question is, what's going to happen if we mine on the bottom of the ocean? It's going to change the environment down there, and what are the long term impacts? And we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to the sponges or the worms or the shellfish, or even, I mean, things like clams and crabs, and I mean, we eat those too. So is this going to cause, if we start mining them, are going to cause a huge population decrease? These are things we don't know. There's a picture. That's a pretty big one, right? That's a pretty big potato. So it's an interesting read, I think, and it makes us think about where we get our things, right? So when we make things, I mean, we need raw materials. We don't recycle everything. We get new things, and That involves typically getting ore and cracking it. So these are very well. They're staring us in the face in a way. It's really easy to get to them, and this is a resource we've never tapped throughout. I mean, obviously throughout human history, but these are hundreds of millions of years old. So no civilization has ever done that. And that's another interesting thing. I thought about this when I'm reading the article. Humans have been around supposedly for hundreds of thousands of years, and history is only about 5,000 years old. So when you say prehistoric, you mean basically pre-Babylonian times when we started writing things down. So, but um, humans have been around for that long, for a long, very long time. And I remember I was in an Australian museum and they had all these pretty rocks. And one of the things that stuck with me when I was at that museum, they said, like, hey, we got all these rocks from riverbeds. And these rocks take a long time to make, millions of years to make. And these were all the easy finds. And so this one of the things that this tells us is that this is the first civilization for many millions of years, if any, on this planet. So I mean, the question is, did like the dinosaur times, did they have something like humans as far as something as a creature that could come and create a industrialized society? And it looks like the answer is probably not. And the proof for that is for things like the easily found minerals, ores, have all been gathered basically. And I mean, we don't find them anymore. And here's another source. So like now we've pretty much gathered all the easy ones on land, and we can still get to them on land. I mean, it's a little harder. We have to go to new places, and right now, from the article, it suggests that we go more to like some of the areas in the tropics, for instance. But this is an untapped resource, and it's never been tapped by anyone. So it's interesting. So this is another proof that that humans are the only advanced civilization, or this current civilization is the only industrialized civilization that has ever happened on this planet. So I'm just seeing all these connections, so it's something I thought I'd mention, if you like to study history and that kind of thing. And that's not in the article at all, but that's just me talking, and that's my own connection there. But it's interesting. I thought this was going to be more about, when I first saw the article, I thought it was going to be about rare earths, but it's not. It's about more of the transition metals that we do need in large quantities. So this is an interesting thing. So, and of course, if you want to go and further talk about geopolitics, having other sources for things do affect geopolitics, because many places that we're looking at to collect these important metals for us tend to be in less developed countries, and there's various political implications of that. So, well, it'll be interesting where this progresses, and it'll also be interesting to see how the environmental impact is. And this, again, we have no idea. So, and we're going to try it out. So, at least, well, the companies have invested in it, unless, and they want to get the return on their money. So, we'll see what happens. But I hope you enjoy the article. As always with all my videos, I hope you are doing well and that you're looking after yourself, and that includes looking after your own mental health and staying happy. And if you are not doing very well, especially in terms of basic needs, but anything else, I will do what I can to help you. Feel free to reach out and I will do what I can to help you. So I'm going to sign off for now. Aloha and have a nice weekend.